I think we're about a minute early. We'll get going. Hello, everyone. I'm going to make sure it's working here. Give me a second. We're about a minute early. Get going. There we go. Yeah, looks like we're up and running. Let some people come into the house. Hello. All right. We already got some folks in. Say hi, folks. Say hello in the stream if you like. There's Jennifer. Hi, sweetie. Good to see you. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you like. We'll wait one more minute. Not even that much. To get going here. There's Ann. Hey, thanks for the Ann and Eric. Thank you for the Starbucks birthday gift. Thank you so much. Yay. And way to go, Bengals, man. Bengals look good today. Yeah. Bengals look real good today. They played some football. Yeah, they did. Hello, James. Oh, good, James. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you. Hello, Shadows of the Moon, Kimberly, MLM. Ms. Miller, how are you? Good deal. All right. I want to talk about something. I got sick last week. Let me do this here. That's better. I got sick last week, a week ago today. Knocked me on my virtual ass, just wiped me out. Whatever virus it wasn't COVID. If you guys are searching for that, it wasn't that. But whatever it was happening. So that's the key, is to realize, the reality is playing out. And the assignment of the event of causality is irrelevant. It might make you feel good as a reason to deflect the energy towards something and have something to blame. And it might make you feel temporarily, of course, better because you have a cause to your misery. And it was a very miserable time. Cold, chills, aches, just no energy at all, blah. Rough time. And then it re-triggered an old illness of mine, which was the stomach thing, where it would gas up and then become extremely painful in my stomach, and I'd have to find ways to make it burp to get out the gas. It made it very difficult to eat, and then also would clog up my entire esophagus. So I had to get that looked at, which I did on Friday, and they gave me some help until maybe Tuesday when I go to the doctor. I want to point out something, and I want you to listen. I want you to listen without your mind. And this is a skill set that you're going to have to continue to craft on your own and hone the skill. And it's a discipline. It's a discipline. So let's consider the samurai. A lot of their crafts they were disciplined at, and they were absolute masters at particular ideas. They spent lifetimes dedicated to one idea of perfection. And perfection wasn't sought through external validation, repercussions of failure or the value of a revered accomplishment in such skill. This is an internal thing. So when I was sick, I got to be internal. So you can always look at anything and you can call the nature of it purposeful. Because with the awareness of yourself and your intimate internal dialogue, internal flow, internal self exposed to these different temperaments that are not highly sought after by the ego of structure, you have plenty of time to do some very good work on the internal self. And it led me to see things about myself more than I've ever seen before. And they weren't emotional releases. Emotional releases, you might as well just call it phase one. Once you're done with the emotional bullshit, being happy and then sad and then angry and then all this, and once you're done with that fucking childish body of work, you step into a new relationship with reality, with yourself. And it has a sense of maturity that supersedes age and the wisdom of regurgitated knowledge of the self. It is the undertow of isness that speaks to you from a place deep inside, a well of isness and a surety. And the self that you feel, that you touch, isn't the God that the mind can even begin to conjure up as a fathomable explanation or definition of what a God is. We have ideas of gods. We have books and we have reflections, but we do not know it intimately. And I found an intimate part during this illness. It was a deeper part of me where the wisdom and intelligence run so deep and so vast. It doesn't scare you and it doesn't encourage you. It just becomes a knowing that the only foreseeable relationship you can have with it is total acceptance of it, because there is no other choice, because it can't go away, it can't be taken away, and it can no longer be covered up. So I discovered more about me because of an event. I don't care how the event happened. I don't busy my mind with reason and reasonality, for distraction has been heavy with me my entire life, and I'm well versed and educated in distraction. I can do it with the best of them. But I no longer have such appetites. I am strong in the will of I am, forging myself through my own kingdom to discover what a God truly is that can only be defined by the one seeking. It can never be explained or compared to any other kingdom. I highly recommend this journey. I highly recommend you let go of childish things and mature yourself. And you don't act like it. You just become it every moment with constant fare that you deserve to experience this. And you pay your dues every now with the transcendence of self recognized, humility and surrender as your bedmates, and then forging yourself into a new light, into an everlasting tomorrow. The next thing I want to talk about is law of attraction. A friend of mine, you guys know her. I've mentioned her on and off for a couple of years. She had come up with another idea. I don't hear from her maybe a year or 2 years at a time. Just depends on wherever she's pointing her focus and mind to. And then we happen to point at each other's directions, and then we co-create. What if we looked at law of attraction as a different thing for just a moment? So maybe you could have a different relationship with the precedent that attraction has to be attended to. Maybe change the wording from law of attraction to law of validation. So reality right now, is if we all can pretend with each other, is your best friend. And your best friend is going to be there in any and every way possible that you validate in the moment. It's going to reflect it to you. Now, if you have been following me and my work, you understand that the mirror does not attract details. The mirror speaks one language, the language of the now. It speaks vibration. It validates, pardon me, it validates, I'm still having some of this clogging thing. Law of attraction validates, so law of validation will validate vibration. So when you're saying to the universe, I don't want that, it's not listening to the details. It's not saying, okay, you don't want that. See, when you have things that are not wanted, they are objects. They are defined, they are separated out of the chasm of your entire bubble of now. They are objectified. And then you have an energy relationship with that object. It could be a situation, could be an unknown bill, it could be someone saying something to you, it could be being fired on the job, it could be getting passed over for promotion, it could be the gas prices are too high, it could be that they had the World Cup in Qatar. Whatever it is, you turn it into a relationship and you have a validation going on between that and the object. And that universe doesn't listen to your brain. Your brain is secondary. It lives in time. It lives in reaction. We live one split second later, and the now's always here, and then we get to experience what we've already validated. And then most humans look at it with the slanted eyes of polarity, and they have their emotional relationship somewhere in the field of positive and negative and everywhere in between, and they experience that particularly attracted now, validated by the best friend called reality, and they move on to their next now, and it continues on until they die. It will never fail. So we want to look at the validation part of this. When you are putting out a vibration of against reality, you're putting out to creation, I'm against things. So it will validate you to be against things. So it's going to attract situations that you have two choices. Two choices. You can validate the against, or you can transcend the relationship of conditioning in that moment and send a new validation out to creation with your vibration. That's what you can do. Because when you start changing what you are validating, your reality will change. Now, you're going to, well, I'm going to say something here. I don't want you to have expectations. Some of these channels and people want you to, it's okay to have expectations. Well, these channels that are coming through aren't fucking human. They do not know the seductivity of the egoic mind that will take one tiny little sliver of expectancy and turn it into a dialogue that takes you 20 to 30 minutes out of the now and spins you off into a reality of action that's going to take you a year to get back to wherever the fuck you were. So I would say this: if it's coming from an outside source that hasn't been the fucking rodeo of a human, I'd say take it with a grain of salt and get busy with the kingdom that you are. Not one of you is a lesser God. All of you are creators. We have a tendency to forget that because our world is a catastrophe. And then we make sure we know it's a catastrophe. And we reinforce it with our fears and our loathings and our pity parties and our drugs and our escapisms. But the masters that endure the light, that walk through these ideas of darkness to shine the change and the validity of the eternal gods, are the ones that will prevail. So when you're hearing yourself expect something in your mind, when you are validating your reality in a new way, stave off that hunger of that egoic mind, because the only mind that appetites is the ego mind. The only mind that desires is the ego mind. They said that one time, well, gods desire, and the fuck they do. Gods are inquisitive and creating always. They don't desire as in lack. Feel the word desire. There's a drive, there's an internal self. You can use the word desire. I'm not saying it's a wrong word. What I'm saying is you got to get to know the fucking relationship behind it. Because if the meaning of it is emptiness to be fulfilled through desire, you're fucked. Because then you're telling creation, I am not enough. And until I get what I desire, I will seek that which I desire, which will send the validation of an eternal seeking never to be fulfilled, because you are not putting your worth into yourself, you're putting your worthless into yourself. How dare you say you're not enough? How dare you put yourself down? Don't you do that on your watch anymore. So this validation comes about in ways that you cannot understand. Why would I get sick? I don't go out of the house. I don't interact with other people, and I get this blown up illness, both me and Tommy. Well, I'm interested in something. Like the human collective is interested in something. I'm interested in ascending and in discovering the unknown God within. Humanity is interested in an ascending species. Do you really think the world is going to end? Do you really think the evil things are going to come and take us and destroy it? When the collective is very interested in ascending, we're not going to attract mayhem and silliness and mockery of petty little story times of fear, so you can feel proud that you warned somebody and you had a purpose. Better than the meek shall inherit the earth, the mature shall inherit the earth. So I want you to see with this intelligent observer, watch yourself. Watch the way you feel get to know your emotions. When you're happy-go-lucky and you're jumping around like a fucking idiot, look at that self and say, is that the work of a God? Does a God jump around being excited because it got some little candy? It got some temporary fulfillment of, ooh, look at me. Look, it doesn't matter if you want that or not, or you choose that or not. I just want you to know what it takes. It takes a fucking master that is well honed with what they're validating every day vibrationally, sending out to all that is what it's ready to experience. I was ready to experience a deeper sense of myself. I was ready to experience beyond the channels, beyond the wisdom of time, and dive into a place that very few have ventured, I'm sure, but everyone has access to. So I want you to look at the way you're attracting realities. I want you to note your behavior. I want you to note your emotions. I want you to become vibrational tacticians by observing how you feel. I want you to feel the subtleties of the vibrational shifts in your reality every day. I don't want you to account them to any ideas of energies or moons or suns or stars or houses or anything like that. We don't need causality. Not invalid, not needed either. You just start taking note and stop giving the brain food for dissecting the reality and trying to map it in some cordial way that can make itself known to humanity as the bringer of new light. We don't need another ego. We want to take the ego and starve it. And once it's starved, you'll realize how much is left of you. And you'll only grow more of you in awareness. And then you get things that you don't understand with the ego mind, but you understand with different parts of you. The parts of you that you've never felt before. And you can have that. Because no one has to give it to you. And it's not earned. It's not up to somebody else. It's up to the journeyman that chooses the journey. So maybe law of attraction becomes law of validation. If you ever want to know why the person at work that does the least work gets the most pay raises and the best days off, it's because they're validating their fucking reality. That's why. And if you're bitching about someone else, you're validating your reality. Stop crying and go to work. The more I realized making my world small was a good thing, I'd just like to reiterate that, because you have time, an incredible amount of time to do things, because you're not busy in time, managing time. Just let it come up. And the things that are distracting you as a habit daily, you watch, you don't shut them off right away. You just observe yourself in your daily habits. Okay? And then you see how much energy and time you're putting on things that don't make any difference to your now. They're these cycled ideas of energy to dine on. Tommy, can you bring the tissue? I'm going to go get this looked at. Thanks, baby. the time I have to write and to work on E is amazing. Because when you're in a moment, pay attention. When you're in the moment and you're focused on something, you have a new concept. You write the concept down and you go in and you ponder it. Time stops. But if you're concerned about time, your best friend reality is going to validate a concern of time. You're going to have to start noticing how you're spending your time thinking about time, which validates the concern of time, which leaves you less time. That's another validation you'll learn. I'm sorry if you had to see that. So I want you to I want you to realize when you take away the distractions that are just energetically, emotionally filling, fodder for the ego, dietary supplement for the ego, when you take that away, the first part you're going to notice is a withdrawal. Now, these withdrawal symptoms are very distracting because they're going to urge you to take action, and you're going to want to take action because you've only felt one way your entire life. You've only felt identified through an emotion. Whether the emotion is wherever it sits on the emotional scale is relevant if you have an identity that is externalized through a valid emotion. That's your fractal. We know that. So when you start taking away its food, it gets hungry and it gets very, very ornery. And it's going to want you to feed it. And it's going to have you listen to 1,000 of these fucking thoughts that are going to bombard you. And you can't be a child and be surprised at all the thoughts, because that reaction to your change that you are seeking is an ego feeding in the now, validating your best friend reality to give you more unless you change the relationship. Nobody else. You can do it once and twice, continue it, and you stop growing. You start growing stagnant. You start selling yourself excuses to why and why not. And you get discouraged and frustrated. You let your mind talk to you, and the dialogue takes over, and then you're shifting in time, and you're all of a sudden lost in this emotional thing. And what happened? You don't know how to get back. You create that observer and you stay frosty, my friends. So this ego with less food is going to wane inside of you, and you're going to start feeling more of a self that's unfamiliar. Now, your mind's going to want to know what this self is. That's the ego. Don't give it any reason. Give it nothing. I'm enough. I'm enough. I'm enough right now. Isn't anything happening right now that's bad? No. Then I'm enough right now. Anything I need to do right now? No. then I'm enough right now. I'm enough. I'm enough. Okay? And you get through that wave of emotions and you start to move into your own maturity and you start to observe and transcend your emotional selves and you start to continue or you continue to have the internal dialogue, the internal observer, and then wonderfully these thoughts start to change. They don't wonder what you're going to do tomorrow. They don't wonder if the bills are going to get paid. Can I just tell you something? Can I show you something? Don't discount this. Don't you fucking discount this. You see that? We're going to say that's you. You're in a bubble. Do you know you've never moved? Ever. You've never been anywhere. You're a fucking thought. That's how powerful you are. And all these thoughts pass through you, giving you tomorrows and yesterdays, memories and winters, Starbucks and cars, sunrises and wives and husbands and children. But you never have fucking moved. Ever. You haven't been anywhere. Created all around you. So how can you fear what's not there? Because it's never going to come. What's going to come is what you validate. So you can start seeing how this works. And when you start validating what this says instead of this, and don't sell yourself the fucking blowjob that my heart has a purpose, because it doesn't have a fucking purpose. Your heart is the will of the now that creates. You start validating that self. And I don't care how much it hurts all the people that you love or all the people that you hate or all the people that need you and you need them. And I don't care about that because I'm not here for candy ass and stripes. I'm here for goddamn masters. You validate that and you'll understand it's your world and nothing gets in unless you say so. So make that world small and allow the internal dialogue and allow time to play out and allow yourself to spend 2, 3, 4 hours on one idea and only 10 minutes have gone by. Dive in the idea of curiosity and realize that when you're out of it, that felt like a month just went by in an actual 2 or 3 minute span. I can tell you about my illness, but I only remember bits and pieces of it. Doesn't matter if it was there every day or not. What matters is I'm there every day. Okay? So, my school is exceptional. It's groundbreaking material for an enlightened worker, one that wants to enlighten themselves. And the students that I currently have can attest to it that it doesn't work unless you do the work. This school doesn't tell you what to do. It shows you exactly what you're doing to yourself and how you can change those relationships. So I'm going to continue with my last school starting this next week. Not this week coming up, the next week, I think. And that school will be persona. We have a personality that's built on the constructs of time, mothers and fathers and environments. But we have a persona that stays constant, and that's an undiscovered self. So I'm going to find out what that thing is, so may we may bring it to the table of humanity. But the school that I laid out, I've given you all in all of the work I've had on this channel. It's recognize your own bullshit. Transcend it through the surrender of self. Choose different with the courage of all the masters that walked before you. And then develop yourself with the trueness of your own light, and walk without doubt, walk without negotiation, walk without waver every day of your life. And you'll find the God. You'll find the unknown God. I know it's there because I felt her, and she is some incredible, wicked being of business. I don't think there's anything I need to say on anything else right now. To my students for class on Wednesday, we're finishing up Vibrational Tactician this week with the findings I have this week. We'll go over that. For those of you who want to join these classes next time, we'll be starting a new round maybe in January. But there might be something else, because there's always something. Can you guys feel that sometimes? You feel something off there in the distance. It's a shadow in the corner of your eye. There's something else, something. There's a different kind of work that's waiting. We'll find it together. I think that's about it. You have to pardon my illness. But I am feeling better. Again, before you sign off, if you could, give it a thumbs up. I don't even know if I need that anymore. A donation. It was my birthday. I'm 56 as of yesterday. And I want to thank Eric and Ann again, two of my students, and also one of my biggest supporters over the years. To you both, I love you and thank you. To Larry Lucas for his undying support every month, and the others that give me a monthly. I think there's one other, Robin. Thank you, darling. To keep it going. All right, my friends. Let's sign off for now. When I have something else that's ready to be talked about, I'll pop back on. In the meantime, you go to that fucking mirror and you say to yourself, "Thou shalt have no gods before me." And then not only say it, but start living it and respecting yourselves. To my master ascenders, I bid you all a good day. Love you. Bye.